Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide. Well, 4.7 is live, so I can dig into the Aurora Mark II in detail. And let's start with the price. With my video on the pre-release tease, I predicted a $45 US price and a $60 US starter pack. What I hadn't counted on was how generous CIG was going to be with the launch War Bond starter pack, giving us a full $15 off the starter pack for what will likely be the last hurrah of a $45 base beginner pack if you buy War Bond. And that also gets you lifetime insurance and a set of Venture, armor, and pistol. So a great deal. We don't often get deals with LTI on starter packs, so it is worth considering. If you're already satisfied with your starter package ship and insurance, the standalone ship has a War Bond discount for fresh money of $5, so it's $40 instead of $45 with the new money. There is no War Bond upgrade discount. Now, the Aurora 1 has an alphabet soup of different models. The Aurora 2 has only one model, but two modules that can improve upon it. One improves the combat capabilities with extra missiles and a third small shield, and the second increases cargo capacity by 6, taking it from 2 to 8 SCU. Enough to do some very small cargo missions. Each of the modules costs $10, but there's a War Bond bundle that essentially gets you the Aurora 2 and both modules for a total of $55 new money. Probably the most noteworthy thing about the Aurora Mark II is that its standard has 4 size 2 guns, default containing Badgers. This is above any other ship in the under $60 price range, and thus likely the Aurora II's strongest feature. So let's have a walk around it. From the outside, the design cues are definitely more towards being a Scorpius Jr. than the Aurora II. Two 1 SCU cargo pads, one on each side, are found behind this button. I see these mostly being used for loot boxes. Then on the port side of the ship, another panel extends a set of stairs rather than the old ladder on the port side of the ship and reveals a circular docking port, without which it can hardly be called an Aurora. To the left is a captain's chair that spins rather than the awkward climb-around animation of the Aurora 1. There's a fire extinguisher, 2 small cubbies for 1/8 SCU mission boxes, a component panel containing diffuses, avionics, and life support, along with an engineering terminal above. Then further back on the port side, weapons rack, and on the starboard side, a suit locker. And then at the end, the Aurora-style end entrance bunk with a bit more roomy than the original. But now, let's play what's missing. Well, no toilet, no kitchen, no jump seat, all of which are common on other recent starter ships. But even more than that, where are all the physical components for the engine, the cooler, radar, and jump drive? Well, they do exist, but what we have to do is run, jump, and mantle onto the nose of the ship. Now, this is indeed substandard. With a ship that has grown this much, it should have been possible to get these inside. When I did my proof of concept for an Aurora 2, part of what I was looking for was whether all that and internal components could fit within the existing footprint of the Aurora 1. And it could. But before I get into how much larger it has grown, let's talk about how it can grow more with these 2 modules. In order to install or remove modules, you have to have the ports unlocked from the pilot seat, just as you would have expected. Other than that, call them up and tractor them over to the rear of the ship, and they snap right in. The only beef I have with them is that the cargo one has one of the dumbest design features I've ever seen. The decision to have this center lift mechanism accomplishes nothing except make it impossible to use a 4 SCU box that would have clearly otherwise fit. So let's get into how much the Aurora 2 has grown over the Aurora 1. In a word, lots. The Aurora 2 dwarfs the Aurora 1 in every dimension. Now, you might say it doesn't matter if it's larger, and if this was 2 years ago, I might have even agreed with you. But now captains are saying not just whether it will fit, but how many will fit on an Idris flight deck or Polaris hangar. And in that matter, not only is the Aurora 2 larger than the Aurora 1, it is, with one exception, larger than every other starter category ship. So let's put them nose to nose, all the other ships commonly called starter. We've already seen the Aurora 1, so let's proceed alphabetically. The 100I is way smaller than the Aurora 2, and as they say, looks fast standing still. It is slightly behind in weapons with 2 size 3 guns, but better than some of the other starter ships. It hasn't had a full gold pass yet, but the physicalized components it does have are all inside the craft. It could use to have the 2 SU of cargo moved to a drop-down lift at the back like the Aurora, which would open up more space for internal components. Now the cutter, slightly taller and similar in width to the Aurora II, but way shorter. Nevertheless, the cutter has all of its components internal and a decently complete crew cabin, particularly if you take the step up to the Rambler. It has a rear cargo ramp and a tall cargo bay for a lot more flexibility in carrying things or teammates. Where the cutter, though, lacks is firepower, having 2 size 2 weapons rather than 4 on the Aurora Mark II. Then we have the starter ship that dwarfs the Aurora II in footprint even more than the Aurora II dwarfs the others, and that is the Intrepid. And the Intrepid is so much larger mostly because of the Crusader style guide, but also because it has the most expansive interior of any starter ship, including all interior components, kitchen with table, bedroom, bathroom, and all the rest. And this is also the starter ship in the comparison that bests the Aurora II in firepower with a single size 4 weapon instead of 4 size 2s. Now we come to the ship that has for a decade been the yin to the Aurora I's yang, the Mustang Alpha. And it seems almost unfair to be comparing it to a ship that has been so recently updated. The Mustang is shorter but wider only because the rear wings do not fold back, and it has the same 2 size 2 weapons as the cutter that used to be the standard for a starter ship. It is desperately in need of a gold pass, and unless you upgrade to the beta, there is no interior at all, much less the kind of amenities that seem now to be expected in a starter ship. So, are we going to see a Mustang Mark II, or will they do a limited gold pass perhaps by making the rear wings foldable and having the components accessible from outside the craft, perhaps from the roof? I'm not sure, but the Mustang, never quite as top-selling as the Aurora, and the Consolidated Outland Corporate Style Guide has moved on with ships like the Nomad and the Hoverquad, so a Mustang 2 might actually look more like a Nomad Mini in the same way that the Aurora II more resembles a Scorpius Jr. I think that could sell. One last ship to get nose-to-nose is Star Citizen's take on the Star Trek shuttlecraft, the Pisces Expedition. And of course, it's tiny. The whole point of it is to be tiny. Yet it has 2 jump seats and a more flexible cargo layout than the unmodded Aurora Mark II. And you can clown car a fair number of Marines in the back. When CIG said that the Aurora II could be the starter ship you still find yourself returning to, I thought the more accurate description of that was the Pisces. So what do I think of these? Can I pick a winner? Well, at its current LTI War Bond sale price, the Aurora II is absolutely a great value. But when it goes to its regular price, is it still the one to choose? If what you are looking for is the most competent fighter for $45 US, then yes. And even the most competent fighter for $55 with the extra module, then also yes. It is also the best courier cargo ship for $55. Yes, but the Avenger is only $5 more with more flexibility, or you could actually get serious about cargo and get the Nomad or Hull A at $80. If you want speedy stylishness, get the 100i. If you want great utility and kind of an ugly cute vibe, get the Cutter. If you want the best living spaces, get the Intrepid. And if you want to be able to fit anywhere, get the Pisces. One last item is a correction to my prior video about the new inventory system. I said that the new inventory system needed you to switch to theater mode. That was fixed late in the PTU for 4.7. It now works fine in full VR. It was a bit surprising when I first tested it because the inventory interface elements float considerably closer to yourself than the image of your character does. On a flat screen, the inventory elements in your character appear to be on the same plane, but definitely not in VR. Now onto my channel events. We have the Captain's Members, the VRU at CitizenCon, where one of the captains will be awarded a VR headset, with the value of the headset being based on the number of Captain member months between now and then. Then for everyone else, my Grow the Channel ship giveaway for the ILW week. Really not that far away, I'll be giving away the Ironclad Assault, which for all indications will be going flyable right about then. And then for the IAE week, the Galaxy, which has already been teased as the big new ship released in this year's IAE. One entry per video for these members. As always, you're entered automatically in each video. Everyone else, just subscribe and comment with the secret word. And the secret word for this video is where on the Aurora II are most of the components accessed from. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Daniel Raymond with Ray's Guide.